Hello builders, my name is G. Today we're going to be taking a look at my AI workflow. So typically I'll start with a UI scaffolding tool like VO to be able to create the landing page or visual layout of the dashboard and some initial platform pages. In this case, right, I want to be able to showcase a collection of pricing for different AI models. It's a pretty simple website. So I just had VO create this for me. I'm going to bring it onto my local computer, clean it up, get it ready to take on some form of backend because eventually I don't want to just have all these values hard-coded. If there are any pricing changes, I want to be able to go into my admin dashboard and then change it underneath the hood. So we're going to do that, right? Create a backend, make sure that the code actually looks nice because let's be honest here, AI does not generate the prettiest of code. And then finally deploy it all onto Vercel. And by the time this video is up, in the in the description down below, you'll be able to navigate to the website and actually see the final finished product. But if you follow me, follow what I do, you'll be able to create your own websites, get it all set it up with a backend, and deploy it to a service like Vercel. I'm excited to get started. Let's jump right into it. So the first step, right, and I mean, I'm going to skip over like all the prompting stuff. There's plenty of people who are going to do like tutorials on that. I could potentially do some tutorials on the kind of tips and tricks around prompting, and especially working with a tool like VO to be able to get what you want. I think that's kind of outside of the scope of this video. Let's just assume that you've finished doing it, but in case you wanted to take a look, I'll just scroll through this. Feel free to pause the video to go take a look at what I was kind of working through. I kind of felt like by this point there wasn't much that VO could offer me. Pretty much had what I basically needed. So, just wanting to go from prompt to actually getting it onto my local computer, right? A few prompts in. We're going to go up to here, these ellipses here. In the current version of VO, they actually moved it because it used to be an actual like place. I think this was the icon, but they've changed it into this internal menu. I actually do this a lot, so this is kind of annoying to actually have this extra click, but whatever. All you need to do, hit the copy button here, go over to your terminal, navigate to the directory that you want to put your project, right? Just paste this line in, right? The line again that you copied from here. Hit enter. It's going to start installing or actually creating a Next.js project, right? So Next.js, what's the name of this project? Calc LLM. And it's going to start working through this. It's going to take a little bit of time, but usually shorter actually than just doing npx create next app. So I'm going to pause the video right here and come back to this when we get to the next step. Once Next.js finishes installing, we're going to move on to installing ShadCN, which is a series of UI components that we can use in our project. They're going to ask us which style you'd like to use, New York or default. I'm just going to go straight to their website to show this is what New York looks like right here in this basic card component. And this is what default looks like. So New York, a little bit more compact. The size of the text is a little bit smaller in some cases, especially around headers. Default, a little bit more spaced out. Titles are a little bit bigger. Depends on your personal preference, how much you'd like there to be a little bit spacing between things, and how big certain pieces of text are. Totally up to you. I'm just going to go with, funnily enough, their default / recommended, but is not default. We'll just go with New York. And then in terms of the colors, right, I believe I can show this more easily. So we have here slate, gray, zinc, neutral, stone, right? Neutral, gray, zinc, stone, slate. I don't know why it's in a different order, but probably by the colors. Color gradient? Like, I'm not actually 100% sure why it's different. But yeah, so the more blue you want, the more you want to go towards slates and grays. The more grayish black as opposed to the blue, then you might want to go to stone. Zinc is probably the most middle of the road, funnily enough, then neutral. So again, I don't know why these were named in this particular way, but I'll just choose the base one neutral since that's kind of the default option. So now it's going to be creating shadcn, any of the components that this project uses, which, by the way, was dictated by your VO. Since VO has already created a page.tsx, it's just asking to overwrite the basic one that was created in Next.js. So we're going to hit yes to that. Utils.ts also exists, so we're going to overwrite that yes. Layout.tsx, yes. Button, yes. Input, drop down, table, so on and so forth. So you can see here, comprehensive list of all the files that were created here, and then all the files that were updated as a part of the shadcn installation. So there's that. All right, collapsing things there. Then we're going to just go into our directory that we made here. It has all of our project in there. We're going to just do code dot to open up our project in Cursor real quick. I am going to close the AI chat part and go through some of the things here. So some of the things right off the bat, they don't use the source directory, so I'm going to create it. When we're working with backend, I just want to separate all of the UI related stuff like in app and components and keep that away from our server side stuff. So we have server that we need to add. We need to add in API in there. So there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to need to add inside a server. We're going to set up a DB at some point in the future. In order to support this source directory, we're going to go into tailwindconfig.ts. Make sure that you do this for both tailwindconfig.ts and tsconfig.json. So the two relevant areas, let's just start with tailwindconfig.ts. Your styles are going to look messed up if you're trying to use Tailwind classes, and if you're using the source directory, you need to specify that. We're not using page routers, so I'm not going to too worry about that, but this is why I wanted to turn off the AI stuff. Disable globally for now, so that we don't have that random autocomplete. We're going to do source. So that's what I added here, the three sources here. We don't use pages router, so we're using the app router. So really, technically, you only needed to do it for these two, but I'll do it for all three, for what just in case. Honestly, you could technically remove this line. It still works. So everything else should be fine here. Next, we're going to go into this tsconfig.json here, and inside of paths here, right? So we often use @ to denote the path to our files. So if we're in app and we're trying to pull something from components, then we're just basically saying @* would be the same thing as doing ./source*. And so now we can call things in. So if I were to go to page.tsx, we have this @ right? Notation here. By having it point to source now, we won't have any issues, right? If we remove that, I believe, yeah, it's going to come up with some errors by saying, oh, it can't find it, because technically @ components would be at the app level, right? And so it'd be like, hey, there's no components file in here. Well, of course, there is one inside of source, right? So if we go here, great. Nah, it's able to find it, right? As you can see here in the route, source/component/LLM pricing. Now, let me just make this a little bit bigger so people can see, so I can repeat it. Source/component/LLM pricing table. We were just adding the source, and inside of Tailwind config, we were adding these three sources. So hopefully that's a little bit easier for you to see. I grew up coding in C, C++, so I'm a semicolon freak, and you know, I'm pretty particular about keeping things in ABC order, but that's not the reason that you come watch me, to just see me exchange Tailwind classes. So once I break out of this stupor of fixing these and reordering some of these, basically what we're going to do is just verify that our installation and everything worked correctly. So we're going to do npm run build first, make sure that we're not carrying any issues. We're eventually going to deploy. this project. So we want to make sure that it can pass into becoming a production build. And if there are any problems, we need to fix them. String is not assignable to type number. Interesting here. So what is this E value? So we already said that this is a type number. And input price is expecting... okay, a string. So we need to do, I believe, is the function called toInt? No, it's toString. Well, we could ask AI to fix this real quick. Oh, wait, the function name. Yes. I just remembered. ParseInt. So that should return a number. Yep. And are there any error? I'm sure we're not gonna need to worry about that too much. I am very surprised that VO actually made this error and how it didn't catch it, or that that it didn't pull up an error. I feel like that's kind of weird. Something that I'd want to see fix. And again, I'm a little pedantic about all of this stuff in my code, but there's a lot to clean up. Honestly, you could use AI to fix up most of this stuff. And a lot of these are just kind of pet peeves. ABC ordering stuff, so it's easier to find, all that good stuff. So, but all in all, this stuff seems reasonable. So let me just run npm run build again. Make sure that we don't have any additional errors. And we still have something in here in LLM pricing table. Type of unknown. Row.get value. Oh, this is from the table. Let's see here. Okay, well, we can just cut this for now, just so I can see what's inside of here. Dot. So they asked for get values. Is there something similar to it? There's get value. What did we choose here? No, we did use get value. So what is object is of type unknown? Interesting. So what is this? An LLM. An LLM has context length. Yeah, so what's wrong here? Because the row should have that. Well, sometimes when we do this, we'll be able to see what are valid values. Are they not? That's really strange. There's no autocomplete for that. Alright, let me fix this and get right back to it. Alright, it's a pretty simple fix. I was just looking at the others to see how they did. I don't know why these ones have number, and then this one doesn't. So we're basically asserting that the value of this thing will be a number, so that way we can divide by, what is that, 100,000, 1 million? Yeah, mtalk, okay, yeah. So that's really weird, because these are supposed to be numbers, so I don't know why we had to assert that it was a number using that function, but okay, easily fixed that one. Anything else that we need to worry about? So this is where the data is. They're using a use effect in this. It's kind of gross. Also with tables, I usually try to put it... Oh, what's wrong there? This might be an IntelliSense issue or an issue with node modules when this build triggers for it to suddenly have an error around a div. So everything should be fine. We're just going to run npm run dev and open it up in localhost and check out what's the difference between this preview here, which looks great, and this here. All right, everything looks reasonable. I don't see anything out of place. We have the admin login. I think I asked it to straighten out the admin login. I didn't really like that it's kind of askew, but technically no user is really going to see the admin login, so this is really only just going to bother me. Or rather, people are going to see it, but they're not supposed to click on there. So we're going to probably move the admin login to the bottom or something. So yeah, here's the project. It's in the npm run dev state. I mean, technically, this project is somewhat totally valid if we were to be fine with just running in and changing all these numbers manually in the code. Which, I mean, technically, if I were to do it in an admin dashboard, would be basically the same. But that's not the point. The point is to eventually get a backend for this. But first, let's deploy this onto Vercel. Just get the static website up there and show you how that gets done. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to need to get a new repository, a GitHub repository. And so we're going to private this just to keep the code out of prying eyes. And we're going to need to generate one. So this is going to be calc LLM. We're going to create that repository. We're going to do most of these commands, but first we're going to grab this. Git add dot git commit -m first commit. We're going to paste this command in here to set up the origin to point at that, and then we're going to do git branch -m master git push origin master for the master branch. And if we refresh everything, our code is now in here. And then what I can do is go over to Vercel and go over to add new project. And an interesting thing, so these are all the projects. I don't allow access to every single one to Vercel. So trick is I'll just hit Z, need to configure the GitHub app, go into there, it needs verification. By the time you see this is not going to matter for you to see the code. I'm going to validate on my phone. 56. Validated. Quick, you have a window of messing with my controls. Just kidding. We are going to do... There it is. Calc LLM. I'm going to save that. And we now have access to it. Calc LLM. Great. So we're just going to name that project. Yes, that seems fine. I don't think we need anything else just for now. So we'll just hit deploy. And so we can watch the deployment for a little bit. Make sure everything functions correctly. The reason that I was harping on npm run build is that's what command is used in order to build. So make sure you want it to pass and not have any breaks, because then it's a waste of your time waiting here. But if you wanted to also look, you can just like read all this stuff if you want. Looks like they finished the npm run build, so there's npmi, the installation, and now they're on to the build part. So we're just gonna wait. Actually, I'll be back once the deployment finishes. But yeah, nothing else to do other than just wait. It usually takes around 2 minutes for the first one, and then a minute or so for the second one. Looks like everything looks good on the build. So actually, this might finish much quicker than I expected. Might depend on like how big your project. Okay, cool, great, there we go. So if we click on this, right, this is the .vercel.app URL that we have for this project. Interestingly, the zoom level, I forgot about that. Yeah, ours is a little bit zoomed in, so you kind of see how it deals with like different types of screen sizes. So a little bit of things that we have to fix there. This is probably what it would look like on the phone. Admin's kind of off the screen, so we're going to have to fix that to make it a little bit more responsive. But technically, again, admin's only for me. Another thing that we're going to do is now add a domain. So I actually bought the domain, calcllm.com. So we're going to add that. And this was the process in order to do it. So you could totally just buy the domain on Vercel. You go to your projects, you have domains, you can buy all the domains that you like. in our project here. Where is it? Calc LLM. Right now we have it connected to our own domain. Great job there. I guess I'm technically patting myself in the back. But yeah, so basically we have our project totally set up. When we push to GitHub, right, it'll make changes onto here. If you don't want that to happen, switch it to a different branch, which is where then main comes in, because then main can be the main development branch and master can be the production branch. So yeah, that basically shows you how fast it is to create a website using VO, at least getting the front end up and getting it up, deployed onto Vercel and out in public. Now, obviously, these are all hard-coded numbers. I could fiddle around underneath the hood and get them all fixed to be the actual value, because I don't think these are right. But yeah, that basically shows that in probably around in real-time hours, or real-time, not even hours, probably like 30 minutes, I could have gone through all of this, got it down on my own computer, cleaned it up a little bit, sent it to GitHub, and then hosted it on Vercel. So yeah, I'm going to prepare, as you can see, a lot of these open files, or open web pages, going to be preparing for us to build out the backend so that we can actually have like a little bit of an admin dashboard and going through and creating all of the additional rows as needed. You know, if there's another model that needs to be added, great, we're going to be adding it to the project, like for example, like Google's Gemini. And hey, if Palm 2 is being deprecated, then maybe like gray it out so it's, you know, not included, or a separate deprecated table, like we can move it from one table to another. So we'll be doing that in the next video, which will be more of like a, hey, this is what AI generated code looks like. We're gonna have to clean it up. We're gonna have to set up the actual backend, which VO, it's kind of out of scope for this kind of UI templating project. I know that they're trying to push more developers to do it, but honestly, it's a lot easier if you know how to do it yourself. And Claude 3.7, which is the most current one at the time of this video, is way better than whatever model VO has running at setting up a backend. So that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if it brought you value. Please subscribe if you want to watch more tutorials and more tech, gaming, and startup related content. More stuff in the non-tech area coming soon. And please hit the notification bell if you want to get notified as to when the next time I stream or the next video comes live. Thank you so much for watching. Just remember that if G can build, so can you. Go out there, build, ship, grow. I'm super excited to see what you're building. Comment down below if there's any cool VOs that you've been making. Love to see them. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, everyone.